Alright gamers, it's that time of the year. The Year 9 Season 2 designer notes are out. This explains all the changes behind the new recruit rework, RIP 5v5 recruits. It also explains the changes behind the Fenrir and the Solis nerfs, and a couple more secret changes that they made that weren't mentioned in the reveal, like barbed wire doing damage and being even more OP now, which I think is insane, but we'll talk about it when we get there. So let's get into the designer notes, and let's have a yapathon. I am a professional R6 yapper after all, so let's get after it. Hope you guys are doing well. First things first is the win deltas. So as you can see on PC, Finca, top dog. Finca is a top dog, okay? Stop hating. Monty, obviously going to be the highest one on console. So this is your win delta, the height, and then the actual presence is on the right to left. So Ashe is being picked a ton. Makes sense. R4C ACOG is back. But the Finca, this is something I mentioned in my tier list. Finca is actually really strong. You see the knock win rate up, but I think that's because the people that are picking knock, like, it's so low that it's like, it's probably like in the lower ranks of stuff, like the emerald ranks, or like people are just, I don't even understand why knock is up here, but hey, that's cool. Sense, garbage, what's new? Nothing. Deimos win rate actually pretty low on console, which is surprising, but then again, it is a little harder to have that trigger figure on console, or people are just playing him wrong. Actually, his PC win rate is low too. He's definitely a hard operator to play. But anyway, let's move on. You can look at those in your own time if you'd like. Capcan, of course, going to be the #1 defender on console. Nothing too surprising here. Melusi being really good. Rook being really good on PC still. This is something that it's just like, Rook is good when you don't hit headshots. So again, that like low emerald, that emerald diamond rank Rook's going to be a top dog. Let's take a look at the operator ban rates. Actually, before I do this, let's talk about the major, because in the major, nobody plays Rook. Nobody plays Rook in Pro League. There's a reason for that, because people have sharper aim and they're killing you faster, and the time to kill is so much quicker because people are so much better. That's why Rook is not like the best operator. He's good. He's good like when people can't aim, which is most of the time, but at those very top ranks in competitive play, he's not that good, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Still massive Jackal bans. I mean, he's just annoying. Fenrir, most banned defender, way more than Solis, yet they were still like, oh, let's nerf Solis into the ground and let Fenrir still be pretty decent. Interesting choice. Anyway, let's talk about the recruits. So we're into the recruits now. First up, we have Striker. I'm just going to read this to you guys so you guys kind of understand where they're at here. They recognize the delicate position of the recruit operator. Do they really? Because they made it so you can't play 5v5. Anyway, they've always wanted them to be playable in ranked and be a serious operator, essentially. Our goal is to ensure that players have meaningful choices, the same as we did with the new weapon attachments. We want to make every gameplay option viable and interesting. I agree that Striker on the attack is definitely a viable option. Having the hard breach tools and the EMPs, I know a lot of people are excited about that. You can be a self-sustaining hard breacher. Now, it's not going to be as strong as having a Thatcher and a Thermite, right? But it's still going to be like a useful way to play on your own if you do want to play those support roles. Also, having flashbangs and grenades is another great combo. So I do think it's like Striker's a viable operator for sure. My biggest complaint is that it's just all reused stuff, right? You're just reusing guns. You're changing loadout to make it an actual loadout so it's matching the other operators. You're reusing guns that are already in the game. You're using the 2 secondary abilities, which what it was before when there wasn't like hard breach tools and these other secondary abilities. So yes, it is changing the game, but it's still fundamentally the same concepts as what you already had. And then to top it all off, we're reskinning it with the R6 mobile skin. So it's like, what actually is new? And it's not a lot. It's going to change the game, yes. It's going to be different fundamentally because of the different things and the different ways the game has changed at this point. But overall, we're just throwing a bunch of reused stuff together and putting into the season. It's like the only new content, and it's just like, what have we been doing? However, apparently season 3 is going to be a lot bigger, and maybe we'll take a look at the roadmap in a future video and talk about why season 3 will be really, really good, apparently. But right now it's like we're kind of in limbo. We're kind of waiting for season 3 now, even though season 2 is just coming out, and that's not a great feeling. Base stats, he's a 2 armor, 2 speed, and then he can equip 2 secondary gadgets, obviously. He has the M4 and the M249, 5.7 pistol, and the ITA shotgun. I'm going to be running the shotgun. Shotguns just are useful for so many reasons. And then you have Sentry, the defender. Now, I think Sentry's a lot weaker than Striker. I think Striker's going to be really good. I think Sentry is kind of like a troll. It's like, yeah, you could bring observation blockers and EMP and then like use it to cover the bulletproof and EMP the drones and stuff. Or you could just run Maestro with the observation blockers and you're infinitely better already. Or you could run C4 proximity mine, or you could run Valk and have Valk cams with a C4 below if that's what you want to do. Or you can run, Barbed C4, but again, you could just run Valk. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of better operators, especially if you want the 2 specific secondary gadgets and you can just do it with 2 operators and also have 2 operator abilities on top, because the operator abilities in isolation are better than the secondary gadgets, right? 3 Valk cams is better than a C4. 3 Valk cams are better than impact grenades, right? So you might as well just bring the Valkyrie with the C4 in the Valk cams and then another operator, and then you just have better utility overall. So it is a very selfish way to play, and even on its own, I just don't think it's that good. There might be some cool plays, but I don't think Sentry's going to be great. I'm going to test this out. I'm going to play the recruits a lot when the new season comes out, so stay tuned for that. But right now, I'm just I'm very unimpressed by Sentry, and with what's the other one named? Striker. I think Striker would be kind of cool, kind of fun, and a decent operator. I'm not mad that the operators are not good. It's just it just feels such a shallow update. I complained all about this yesterday, so I'm not gonna go too in deep today. Let's talk about the Fenrir nerf. The Fenrir nerf is actually really good. I messed this up in my video yesterday. I didn't realize you actually get the calls back once they're destroyed. So instead of 5 mines, he now has 4. But if none of them are bulletproof either, so the closed ones aren't bulletproof, so they're all able to shoot. So you have to hide them a lot better, which is cool, and you can only activate 2 at a time. So overall, he's holding a lot less ground. He's much less just brutal in a sense. But if they shoot the active Fenrirs, you can still activate the ones that aren't activated. It's not like you're losing the calls like you did before. So I think that's a really good change. I think he's going to be still really strong for different reasons and in a better sense. So before, it's you can just hold so much space and be super, super annoying, and you can switch it to the bulletproof off and on just to spam them and mess with people, and you can play it kind of tactically like that. But it was really annoying. Now it's oh, you can just look for them, shoot them, get rid of them. You don't have to worry about them. But if Fenrir's sneaky, he can place them in sneakier spots, make some cooler plays off them, and you have to be a little more technical with the gadget now, which I like. So I think this is a good nerf. It doesn't over nerf Fenrir. Fenrir's still going to be solid. However, he might even still be too good. This is a good start to the nerf. This is what I like to see. This is how Ubisoft should nerf operators, slightly changing them, making them a little bit weaker overall, and then saying, hey, play with them. If he's still too strong, we can nerf him again. Then you have the complete opposite thing. Oh, actually, sorry, and they also removed the barbed wire, which is a really big change. Barbed wire is really, really strong. Even before they're updating it in the patch, barbed wire is really strong, but they switched it to observation blockers for Fenrir, so now you're probably going to run the bulletproof. The bulletproof camera is just better overall, I would say. So you can run the bulletproof with the mines, which is fine. I think that does take them down a little bit, which is great. Perfect nerf. No complaints here. The Solis nerf, however, is the complete opposite, like I just mentioned. They literally took Solis and said, fuck you, fuck your mom, fuck your family, fuck your sister, fuck your whole neighborhood, fuck your friends, and they threw her into a grave. Now, this is insane, because basically what they did was destroy every single aspect of Solis. Look at this. Goggles disabled during prep phase. That's already a massive change. You can't hunt down those drones in prep phase. The attackers have so much more information. They can pick the ops they want. They don't have to worry about all their drones getting shot. They can set pre-placed drones. There's so much they can do with just this nerf alone. But then they're like, oh yeah, and also it's going to be only 10 seconds long instead of 20, her gadget. Okay, so now her gadget's quite a bit weaker. You have half the duration. Oh, but actually you can only use it when it's fully recharged as well. So now you can only use it a few times, right? You can't just turn on to check a few things. You have to turn on, check a few things, and then you can't turn on until it's charged up again. And then they're like, oh, on top of that, it also has 3 meters less of range. So they're just destroying all of it. But we didn't even get to the worst part, because on top of all that, they got rid of the impact grenades. So they really just pooped on literally every single aspect of Solis, and it's embarrassing, dude. Now you have to run the shotgun if you want to play vertical, because otherwise you're spraying through the floor hoping you don't hit the beams. And if you run the shotgun also sucks now because they changed laser sights and not reduce the spread, so now the shotgun is bad too. So literally everything is just so sad about these changes. So I think honestly, if they got disabled during prep phase is the best change they could have made, and then remove the impact grenades, sure. Then her ability is at least good and she's still useful. Right now it's her ability's not good and she doesn't have impact, and you can't use her in prep phase, and it's just, wow, that is a crazy nerf. And it's only the part 1, apparently. Apparently there's a part 2 to this nerf, which is they're like, oh, let's make her literally the worst defender that we possibly can. So I think that's insane. However, let's see their reasoning for it. Their primary objectives is to reduce her pressure over the drones, specifically during the prep phase. Great, that's the change we needed. Secondly, we want to increase the amount of players' attention on Spec.io resource management. And I think if they wanted to do this, they should have just made the cooldown longer. That's it. I think that's all they need to change, is it takes longer to actually charge it up all the way. That way you can still use it in the same fashion. You can still turn it on when you want. However, you're going to have to wait a lot longer after using up that duration bar. And I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be great. And then you're good to go. Good to go. Solis is fixed. But then they're like, actually, we also want to make it so she's shit. So we got rid of the impact grenades and made it so everything else sucks too. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't really care about the reasoning after this point, because I feel like it's just like they're making these changes to, they already said their overall goals, right? So whatever. Deimos. This is a crazy change. They are changing Deimos and giving him grips on the AK-74. I think Deimos is nasty already. He was used a ton in the major. If you get really good with Deimos, you're gonna slam people. I like the fact that they're making the AK-74 better, I guess. Like, have a grip, sure. It's just going to make him even more strong overall. And I do think because of the fact he is lower on the wind delta, this will make him easier to get good at off the start, you know, by giving him the grips on the AK. So I think this is a fine change. But if you're really good on Deimos, this is going to make you even better, right? So I'm going to play some more. I mean, I love Deimos, so I'll keep playing him, especially if he's getting a buff. Hell yeah, W. Now here we get into the juice. The barbed wire change. This is insane. This is one of the most insane changes of the entire season. They're making barbed wire not only slow down people more, but do damage. And you know what happens when you do the damage? The attackers scream. So now barbed wire not only damages the attacker, makes them slower, but it also gives you a better audio cue when they're moving through it, because they go, you know? So it does 5 HP of damage every second when somebody is moving inside of it. I think this is a terrible change. I think barbed wire was one of the best secondary gadgets already. I was using smoke barbed wire when he still had the shield. I think barbed wire is better than shield right now before this update. Impact grenades are probably on par with barbed wire now that they nerfed them. And then C4s are, of course, the best utility in the game. BPs, they're decent. Proxies are okay. Proxies are loud, but barbed wire is going to be better in every aspect now. I don't really understand it. Maybe you're supposed to use the proxies to like hide the proxies, have sneaky info and catch them off guard. But even then, like having the ability to shoot someone when they're slowed down is so strong. So essentially, I guess what they want to do with this is they want to make it so you actually have to break the barbed wire. You can't just walk through it. So most people are going to break the barbed wire now, which is fine. It's also still really loud. And it kind of just stacks up. Like, this is just crazy. I think this, I'm already running barbed wire on pretty much everyone, especially solo queue, because it gives you information and it slows them down, and it gives you time to react to the information because they're slowed down. So this is just to top it all off. I think this is wild. I'm not mad about it. I just think it's wild. I think it's just like an unnecessary, crazy change that makes barbed wire even better than it already was. And then we have the rank distribution, and this is pretty. Yep, this makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people play a few games and like, yeah, I'm not going to play anymore. They kind of end up in bronze. I don't think people are actually skilled bronze. I think if every player played at least 100 games, I think they would at least be silver or gold. So I think this is really just people not playing enough games and not actually hitting what their hidden MMR is. And then I think the distribution, because it's falling off in a perfect line, it's literally like these people are playing more games, these people aren't playing as many games, and then you have this like perfect distribution, right? And then you get to champ, and it's like these are the people that just played so many games that they finally got to champ. Or you have like this group of people playing more games and then they hit champ. So I think this is an interesting distribution chart. Let me know what you think though, because I could be like, I'm just guessing that's the reason it is what it is. Console, PC, exact same. Nothing like super surprising here, I would say. Yeah, I don't know. So that's the designer note. It's very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And we'll see you tomorrow for another banger Poxonlox video. Peace, gamers.